Hello, everybody. For those of you who are new to me, my name is Barbara Drazga, and you are in the right place if you want to learn how to sell on during fourth quarter, which is the last 3 months of the year, on Amazon, other e-commerce platforms. If you're just getting started, you're in the right place. If you are a savvy seller, you are also in the right place because there's always something new we can learn, right? Okay, so welcome to Q4 Supercharge. My name is Barbara Drazga. I have been selling on Amazon since 2016, but I've been selling online since 1996. Yes, I am that old. I started on eBay back in the day. So I've got a lot of fourth quarters under my belt, but specifically for Amazon, I've got 7 fourth quarters under my belt. A couple as a newbie, and then as I started learning more, I gained more experience. So I'm headed into either my seventh or my eighth fourth quarter, and my business and life has changed significantly since the first fourth quarter. So, no matter where you're at in your Amazon journey, you're in the right place. What we're going to talk about today is how to fortify your infrastructure and your logistics now. You're not too late. We're at the beginning or end of September. It's perfect timing to get everything in place. You are not behind. If you think you are, you're okay. Take a deep breath. We're going to show you how to um, leverage your time right now in the next couple of weeks so that you can set yourself up for a great Q4. That's my hope for you. You want to identify new sourcing opportunities, which I know a lot of you are already doing. If you're not, that's okay. You're not behind. We'll find new sourcing opportunities. Not in this presentation, but you can find me on YouTube, and there's all sorts of ways to source products. If any of you have been following me, I have multiple ways to source products and to sell products, in fact. Identify new selling opportunities. That brings us to number three, that back in 2017, 2018, I had a scare and my Amazon account was throttled back on Black Friday. And I want to say, I think I blocked the number from memory pretty much, but it was something like on Black Friday back in 2018, I sold $4.58 for the product because of a customer service complaint from a guy who wanted a free bath month. And that was my wake up call. That was clearly a Friday. So that Saturday and Sunday, I set up a Shopify store and I started looking into how to sell on a lot of other platforms. And it's not something that happens overnight, but I've rolled out multiple platform sales over the course of the last 4 or 5 years. And my newest one that I am just now building, in case you've been watching me on my Facebook group, you'll have seen it last week, is live selling, live social selling. And that's just getting ramped. They're just getting started, not even ramped up. I'm brand spanking new at it. But I deliberately and methodically add sales channels to my Amazon business just because I want to hedge my bets and I don't want all my eggs in one basket. So I'm getting ahead of myself. We're also going to talk about how to identify some marketing opportunities that may or may not involve Amazon pay-per-click, how to create a strategic plan. Because if you do that now, if you put a lot of time into planning right now and energy and effort, then the rest of Q4 will roll out more smoothly for you in general. And then create efficiencies, how to create some efficiencies in your business and your life to make Q4, well, enjoyable. And then how to manage your time and energy. Okay, so the first thing I want you to think about is how to fortify your logistics. And by that, I mean you want to shore up your infrastructure and your processes and your team. You want to do that now so you're not scrambling come, the week before Black Friday. I want you to do that now and take a couple of weeks into October, September and October. You've got about 3 weeks that you can really take some time to straighten up your processes and put some infrastructure in place. And I'll show you what that means in a second. And then also hire and train your team. So I saw on a news site, I might have been Wired just a couple of days ago, a lot of the larger retail and e-commerce business companies were announcing how much hiring they were going to be doing. And what I saw was a trend in physical brick and mortar stores. The hiring was way down. Their projection for hiring people for this fourth quarter was significantly lower than the past previous couple of 2 or 3 years. And e-commerce sites like Amazon are on a hiring binge. They are anticipating one of the biggest fourth quarters they've ever had, and they are hiring to reflect that. So think about that in your business. that now is the time to start hiring and training your seasonal helpers. So infrastructure, plan for more prep capacity if you're not using a third party logistics company, also called a 3PL. So both FBA and merchant fulfilled. So you could, it's okay to transform your garage or your spare bedroom or even a storage unit for fourth quarter. And I love storage units because they're temporary, right? It's month to month. You don't have to sign a lease for 6 years or 3 years or whatever. You can just have that as a temporary kind of overfill. And depending on where you are in the country, you can also work out of that unit and always look for a storage unit that's got electricity and hopefully even Wi-Fi. Some of them do, most of them don't, but some might. But you can use your phone too. But definitely electricity and lighting in that storage facility. If you're not using a prep center, then you might want to look into it now. You might be a little bit behind on the prep centers because a lot of big sellers really lock down their prep centers during the summer in anticipation of a large fourth quarter. So maybe try to find a smaller prep center that's maybe not as well known or as well advertised if you're doing the prep center route. Prep area setup. So make sure you've got all of your supplies stocked, and that means poly bags, poly mailers if you're doing merchant fulfilled, even bubble mailers if you're doing merchant fulfilled, labels, things we don't think about till we run out, right? 3-inch tape. That was a big one for me. I ran out of 3-inch tape one year. And by the way, if you're only using 2-inch tape, I highly recommend you switch to 3-inch tape. It's wider for your boxes. You use less tape and less labor to get the box sealed up. And then dunnage and everything in it, labels. Think about the 4x6 labels, or if you're using the 2-up labels. Think about all the things that you take for granted that you have in stock right now, but come fourth quarter, if your volume is quadrupled or more, how fast are you going to tear through the stuff that you currently have? Make sure you're stocked up. So processes. Mm. It's best to have a written or a video, but I like written task sheet for every process. It's called an SOP, which is a standard operating procedure. If you haven't heard the term SOP before, you want to make sure that every little thing, I mean, every little thing is written down. So there's consistency in prepping. There's consistency, like my preppers, what they know I'm fanatical. If I have, for example, this is a real life example, a bundle of Christmas kitchen towels with an oven mitt and a little trivet, a little pot holder. I want on both sides of the poly bag that they go into, I want the design of the towel showing on the front and the back. And I know I'm that detailed. And I want when they put the ASIN sticker on, it has to be straight. Can't just be like skew and sideways because the customer experience for me when they open that Amazon box is truly important. I really want them to open the box and be happy and thrilled that, oh my gosh, this is so cute. And then they turn it over the other side. I don't want it to look sloppy, haphazard, and quickly put together. But I can quickly put these together once if I have written SOPs that this is how I expect my products to be prepped, and everybody shows me how they can do it, shows me how they do it, and then I can correct them and then spot check throughout to make sure they're not getting lazy. I want to get all that in place now instead of having to wait till we're inundated with shipments to get out. And then I have to go train a prep person. Transcribe video into a written SOPs. So for those of you who don't like to write and you do like video, you can just walk through the process, set up your camera on your phone, on a little tripod, point it at where you're prepping an item, prep it and explain how you're prepping it on the video, and then have that transcribed. Use tools to manage your SOPs. There are a lot of different places that you can upload SOPs. I'm old school. I use a WordPress site that's just my SOPs that are categorized for everything in my business, but there are paid tools that you can use to organize your SOPs. Interview and hire local helpers. When I first got started, there were two twins. Of course, they're two if they're twins. They were twins, little girls. They were about probably 9, 10 years old, who lived across the street from me. And I hired them. They came over and we set up in the garage. We set up just a couple of folding tables, and they were prepping unicorn something. It was a bundle, and I remember I could tell they had two different personalities. One was very left brain, the other was right brain. And one of them took charge right away. She understood what the process was, and then she started training her sister, which was really cool. And then I've hired friends and family and local people. I like hiring local people that kind of help out my local community if I can, if I'm not using a prep center for something. And then interview and hire virtual assistants. Start the interview and training process now. I've got a procedure, of course, for hiring virtual assistants, and it usually involves hiring way more than I need because I recognize that only about 10% of the ones that, maybe a little bit more, that I hire, I'll hire maybe four on for a test and one will stay. So, three will be okay, but one will be outstanding. And the best way for me to find that is kind of in volume and hire four of them all at once. And one of them usually, almost always, ends up shining through as just this amazing person. And I still have a lot of VAs that have worked for me back that I hired years and years ago, in another company that I own, in fact, who are still with me to today because they're just they've got the great attitude I love in team members. So recap, you're going to reduce your stress, and that's the key, at least for me in fourth quarter. My stress ramps up. How about you? I want to be more efficient, and you want to have a smooth workflow and a competent team implementing each step of your process. And this is really important to put in place now because we're running businesses, and as a business owner, this stuff comes up, right? There's problems and there's issues and that you have to deal with. You need to be your time and energy needs to be freed up to handle stuff that comes up and not have to worry about things getting prepped. So before I go any further, I want to ask y'all a question. How many of you, this is your first fourth quarter selling on Amazon? Just put first in the chat for me. I want to see how many newbies I've got in here. How many of you are brand spanking new to selling on Amazon during fourth quarter? How many of you feel like you're thrown in the deep end? First, all right, Vera. That's okay. There's no shame here, guys. Put first. Don't be embarrassed. I make sure that there's we're in a no judgment environment. Vera, first, fourth quarter. Only one of you. It's your first fourth quarter. Okay, now I want the rest of you to put in the chat how many fourth quarters you've done. Kim, it's your first fourth quarter. Congratulations, Kim and Vera. Nice job. Heath, four fourth quarters. Yami, second for Susie. I know some of you in here, so that's pretty cool. Stacy, yes, third, fourth quarter. Nice. Third, upcoming fourth, three. Nice job. Oh, I love it. We have a good mix of brand spanking newbies. Don't be afraid. It's okay. And people who've got some experience underneath them. I'd love to hear, as we get into the QA, I'd love to hear from the people who've been selling on Amazon for a bit, what some of your funny anecdotes, not problems, not complaints, funny anecdotes. So start thinking about them now, that you've experienced during fourth quarter, and I'll share some too. Got some stories. I'm sure we all do. So start thinking about funny anecdotes if you sold on Amazon during fourth quarter that you just shake your head or you have to laugh off, and we'll talk about those. We'll share those with one another a little bit later. Okay, so sourcing opportunities. Right now, great time for you to start building up your product sources. I know you're already doing that, so I want you to think about how you can expand out on what you're doing that's already working. So I know a lot of times with Amazon, it's just you feel like you're on a treadmill, right? You're always looking, especially if you're doing RA, OA, if you're not doing wholesale, private label, or bundles, and you're doing arbitrage, then you're always chasing down product, right? How many of you are still you're scanning clearance sections, you're going into stores and scanning, you're doing online arbitrage, and you've got a bunch of tools lined up on multiple computers and monitors where you're just like chunking numbers and trying to find products that have even a little bit of profit. So the process that you're used to the rest of the year during fourth quarter goes a little crazy. Goes a little crazy because everybody's out looking for product. And retail stores are putting a lot of sales on products. And then you have a lot more buyers selling those products and buying. Now it's a competition to buy the products. So it gets a little bit crazy. So start thinking now what your sourcing goals are. Do you want to just stick to a certain niche? Do you just want to be in the grocery market for fourth quarter? Or do you want to just be in toys for fourth quarter? And you don't have to pick a niche. I'm just saying, do you figure out what your sourcing goals are, what you're going to source, how you're going to source, how are you going to find those products and leads? And then are you going to outsource some of that? I like stores going out of business. I buy a lot of liquidation, and I do not do customer returns. I don't want you to get confused with what liquidation is. I buy closeouts and stores going out of business. So it's all brand new product, and I have very strict buying criteria. It has to be my the products that I buy to resell have to be in passionate niche markets, and they have to be something that I think is cool and I would buy for myself, and that has a I mean that's not a set in stone criteria, but you can feel for product after a while, I think. I've been buying and selling stuff since, well, a long time. So I've gotten a feel now. It's like, oh, that looks like let me go check that niche. That looks like an interesting product. Let me see what niche is being sold to. And you'll get that the longer that you are in reselling. And a lot of you who've been in reselling for a few years, you already kind of have that. You get a feel for things. So when I go look at stores going out of business, I can pretty much scan the inventory they have, and I cherry pick the stuff that are for passionate niche markets. I don't just buy everything and anything. Stores are desperate to clear their shelves. There are a lot of stores, retail stores that are going out of business, unfortunately. They weren't able to make it, especially during the summer when it gets pretty slow. They couldn't make it through. Just in my area, there's a lot of stores that have been like they pop up and then about 9 months later, boom, they're gone. And they just weren't able to make it. Maybe they weren't didn't have a business perspective, and they were doing as a hobby, whatever. But there are a lot of places to get brand new inventory besides the places that everybody else is getting that. Small local stores needing capital. They just want to move. I've got some stuff. I've got a 5,000 square foot warehouse, and there's some stuff sitting there that I don't have the manpower right now or the people power to get listed, fix the listings on Amazon. There's one specific product that's got ton of money potentially in it, but just haven't had the time to even hire someone to take that product and run with it. So would I be happy to get those 3 pallets out of my warehouse and let somebody make the bulk of their money? Yep. So there are a lot of businesses like me who we want our floor space back because we've got other stuff coming in. I need that room for other products that's coming in. So there are a lot of small local stores with small warehouses that need capital and need their warehouse space back that you can score some great product from. So start looking locally for those kinds of opportunities on Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp. I haven't been on Craigslist for a really long time, but I bet there are probably people still posting, maybe old school on Craigslist, that they're liquidating products. So go check Craigslist too. And more B&M means brick and mortar are transitioning to online sales. So that means they just want out, right? They're tired. There are a certain number of challenges with running a brick and mortar store. Not the first of which is employees, hiring and then managing employees and dealing with shrinkage and having to commit to 2 or 3 years to a retail space, if not longer. So a lot of brick and mortar folks are just, you know what? It's so much easier to do online sales. And then platform flips. Now I'm not getting into the do's and the don'ts of Amazon. I'm just kind of giving you an overview or that there to give you an idea that there are plenty of places to get inventory, not the can we do this, can we do that? Amazon TOS changes all the time. That's not what we're talking about here. We're not doing a deep dive. I'm just kind of doing a gloss over of think outside the box as to where to get a product that you can sell on Amazon. Don't do what everybody else is doing. Wholesale opportunities, brand owners flush with inventory. Some of the best opportunities I've gotten are going to wholesale accounts, and I know some of you have experienced, a lot of you have experienced probably, well, I can't get approved by these brand owners I really want. So I have a completely different perspective and approach when contacting brand owners. And one of them is I ask for, and this has worked really well for me. For instance, there is a dog product that I have. It's like a travel backpack, and the business was changing packaging, and they had a warehouse full of the product with the old packaging, and it made no sense for them to send it back to China and have it repackaged. So they liquidated, it, and I bought it all. So they were happy to get rid of it because they wanted to rebrand themselves with this new packaging, a new logo, etc. And I was happy to take in that product. And I was able to just send those into Amazon and they sold out very quickly. Many brand owners, they're just not good at sales. So one of the questions Amazon sellers ask themselves as well, if this product is selling really well on Amazon, why isn't the brand owner just selling it on Amazon themselves? Because that's not the business they're in. They're in the business of creating great product, sourcing the product, managing the product into retail outlets. We would have to hire and train an entire person or staff to sell on Amazon for them and hope that that person knows what they're doing. And it's not in their wheelhouse. It's not what they want their focus to be. Those are ideal sources for product. The ones who just they know the stuff's up on Amazon, but they don't really know what to do with it, and they're not selling direct to Amazon or selling it on Amazon themselves. Discounts are all over the place. You have to ask. That is the key. I assume, I never assume that a price on a wholesale website is my price. I, in fact, assume that I will get better pricing and shipping discounts many times. And it's a matter of developing a relationship with that supplier. Doesn't happen overnight, doesn't happen right out of the gate. But the whole idea is to learn how to just build the relationships and find out what problem do they need solved and how can I help them, right? From their perspective instead of what can I get from them? Their perspective is, hey, Barbara, we've got 6 pallets of these blankets over here. We don't know what to do with, but we need them out of the warehouse because we have 2 containers of product coming in, for example. This is hypothetical. Next week, and we need them gone. I actually did a deal for 18 pallets of fringe blankets from this was a month and a half ago, from a custom brokerage company near LA, who their client had not paid their custom brokerage bill, so they abandoned their goods. And those goods were 18 pallets of blankets, and I bought them. I bought them for $1 a piece, by the way, plus shipping, so $1.50. Yeah, discounts are everywhere, deals are everywhere. You just need to do the work and don't do what everybody else is doing. Think outside the box. It's a great time to set up new accounts. Great time to set up new accounts. That is always, always, always going to be my perspective. Always think about the positive. Private label opportunities. It's not too late to manufacture and ship via air. I'm not sure how backed up factories are. You might be able to still get some product in via air if you have already done the research on a niche market you want to go after and identified a product or a variant that you'd like manufactured. Maybe they have something in stock. So it's probably not too late to manufacture and ship via air, but you're bumping up against a pretty fast deadline now because we also have Amazon. They're not calling it Prime Day. I think they're calling it Deal Day. Amazon is now holding an October equivalent to Prime Day that happens back in the summer. They're calling a Deal Day to fill in the slow time between the summer and when Black Friday hits. They decided to create a new holiday, and that's coming up in just a couple of weeks. So you won't be able to get new product into the warehouses if you're shipping from China, probably for that event, but you can try for Black Friday. Liquidations and auctions. I love auctions. There's an auction right up the street for me, which is dangerous. And once a month, they have a Saturday sidewalk sale. Once a month. And they had a pallet sitting out 6 months ago when I went out there, and it was sitting in the front, and people were like digging through clothes. This was a pallet of fluffy dog beds, 30-inch fluffy dog beds. And I left, and I came back later in the day thinking, I wonder if they're still there, and kind of talking myself out of it. I don't have a truck right now. How am I going to move it? And I came back later that afternoon when they were just about ready to pack up. They'd had not a very good sales day, middle of the summer in Arizona. So it's like 117 degrees. And the owner comes out, he recognizes me because I've bought a lot from them. And he says, Barbara, what would it take for you to take this pallet? And he had a price on them. They retail for $34.99 or 32.99, something like that on Amazon. And he said, I want them gone. I've got truckloads coming in. I don't want to pull this pallet back in the back again. I'll give them to you for $5 a piece. Take them all. And I did. So deals like that abound. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Okay, bundles. You know how I feel about bundles if you've been following me at all. I love bundles. Start planning your seasonal bundles now. Always think passionate niches. Always, always. And think about problems people need solved. Now, normally when I teach bundles, I tell people to start with your evergreen bundles And then once they're up and running, then build out your seasonal. Well, we're right there. We got Halloween in 6 weeks. 6 weeks, is it? Something like that. Wait, Halloween's the end of October, and then Black Friday is 4 weeks after that, and then we're there. So I would take advantage of. Oh, and I read a statistic. I think it was in Wired magazine just a couple of days ago. We do a lot of reading about the e-commerce industry, not necessarily Amazon focused, but e-commerce in general. And they said that Halloween sales were going to be something billion this year, up X amount. I don't remember the exact, but we're looking at that statistic and saying, wow, I need to get some more Halloween product. So one caveat is last year I jumped into hats, Halloween hats like flamingos and hot dogs and hamburger hats. Oh my. And wouldn't you know, people wore them to their parties and then initiated a return. Left kind of a bad taste in my mouth about Halloween costumes, but I know there are a lot of people doing a lot of money selling Halloween costumes. Just beware that that's part and parcel, unfortunately, of selling Halloween costumes is that you'll probably have a higher. I haven't done research on the number, but you'll probably have a higher rate of return. That was my personal experience. Okay, so to recap, it's all about your perspective. Sourcing opportunities are everywhere. Focus on relationship building. Let me scooch over to the chat and see if you guys have any questions here. Okay, good. All right, so we're on track. Let me take a breath. You all take a breath. We're about 2/3 of the way through. How you guys all doing? Does anything that I talk about right now kind of resonate with you? One specific thing where it just jumped out is like, oh yeah, I need to do that. Oh yeah, I want to try that. Anything at all, drop it in the chat. If something I've said so far has kind of gone ding 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 in your head and resonated as something that you can apply in your business right now, put that in the chat. Let me know. Getting more supplies. Oh man, Susie, that was one of the biggest mistakes I made. The other biggest mistake I made, I'll tell you further on in the presentation. Um, tape, 3-inch tape, girl, 3-inch. It'll change your life. Only change your life. Wholesale accounts. Yeah, ignore all the naysayers. They're out there. You just have to approach them differently. Awesome. Think niche. Don't think big brands, think niche. Love the encouragement to keep getting accounts. Yeah, I don't rest on my laurels, and I've got some just great suppliers for years now, great suppliers. But I'm always looking for new ones. Always, always, always. I'm always looking for, here's how I look at it. I'm always looking for new suppliers to help, new wholesale suppliers that I can help. See, my perspective's different than a lot of regular Amazon sellers where like, oh, I'm looking for a wholesale account that I can make money on. Well, yeah, that's implied. But if I can help them, then I increase my chances of being able to get an account with them and have a long-term relationship where I get opportunities that come up that no other seller will be told about because of that relationship. Okay, I digress. Let's dig back in. Explore additional selling opportunities. I touched on this in the beginning. That $4.58 Black Friday day was a huge I mean, a huge opener that they apparently what Amazon did was they throttled my entire account because one guy, this was back in the day when Amazon was just blanket if a product was under a certain price, they would just blanket refund. So it was like 14.99 or 16.99. This guy bought a brand new bath mat from me. I only sell brand new, all polybagged. You know how crazy I am about everything's got to be polyed right. It's got to be prepped right. So he complained to Amazon. He wanted to return, and he put in the return box that it was used, sold as new, and that there were footprints all over it. It's just not possible. It's not possible. So I had to, go through the hoops and whatever to answer Amazon and fight Amazon or fight this guy. It was that whole Black Friday weekend. And I will never forget that. And it's the reality of Amazon is if you were only selling on Amazon and they have all your inventory and all of your money and something like that happens, something happens, then you're kind of stuck. So I started with Shopify, blueunicornboutique.com, and then I moved on to Walmart, eBay, Etsy has been really well for me, Facebook Marketplace, and most recently, I just started when I say most recently, Friday, like 4 days ago. Today will be Friday. I did my first live sale direct to consumer for blankets that I got in. So, and the cool thing is these blankets, I have an agreement with the supplier. They are, they sell them on Amazon. So direct on Amazon. And they said, we'll sell to you, but you can't sell them on Amazon. So what am I going to say? Well, no, that's okay. It's a really cool product. But they were going to give me a really good price on as long as I didn't sell them on Amazon. So I don't have to. So now I have a new wholesale account that if I have other sales channels, I can sell them on Etsy. They're up on Etsy now. I can sell them on eBay, any other platform, just not Amazon. So by selling on other platforms, it opens up wholesale opportunities for me. And then I started looking into automations for selling on other platforms. And I found there are a bunch of different automations that do cross selling, and they all have their pros and cons. And at some point, I just decided, let me pick one and run with it and then just deal with whatever the cons are. And that's what I did. And I've been using that one for about 9 months now, and it's doing really well. Oh, and right before fourth quarter last year, I added Google Shopping to my Shopify. It was a plugin to my Shopify, and my product has been selling off of Google Shopping now. Sometimes I can check on Shopify where a lead comes from, where sales come from. So I'm always surprised, like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. It's on Google Shopping. So there are all different places you can sell besides Amazon. If something's not selling on Amazon, if you suddenly become restricted, just don't panic, take a breath. There are all sorts of other ways that we can make money with the things that we're sourcing. Think outside the Amazon box. Consider other multiple sales channels. I'm not saying don't sell on Amazon. I'm saying hedge your bets, right? Merchant fulfilled, Facebook Marketplace, Etsy, eBay, live selling. I just added that to the slide today. Mercari, Poshmark, that should be not Poshmark. I haven't really played around with Poshmark too much. Walmart, Shopify. Shopify is just a platform, an e-commerce platform you have to drive your own traffic to. So just start learning about the different platforms, and there's pros and cons to each, and there's different products that sell differently on the platform. So choose the right platform for the products that you're selling. Okay, go digital. Add some print on demand. Add some Amazon merch shirts and hoodies, sell on Etsy and on your own website. You can sign up for print on demand sites where basically you're just designing the product and then they are manufacturing and fulfilling it for you. It's a very crowded space, which is why I'll go back to my number one bundling rule is identify passionate niche markets. Like really go niche instead of just trying to do what everybody else is doing. Go niche. And then you can bundle these products too, create some adult coloring books in a specific theme and then have them printed by Kindle Direct Publishing, send some back to the author, and then you can bundle those with a matching planner and a journal, etc. I love planners and journals and wall calendars. I'm a freak, an organization freak. I'm ADHD, as many of us are as entrepreneurs. Not officially diagnosed, but I'm ADHD. So I like to put order on chaos because chaos is normal in my brain. So I need the structure of planners and journals to put order on chaos. So I love organizational tools. Who else loves organizational tools? I can't be the only one. Like office supplies. Oh my gosh. I don't even know how many whiteboard markers I have. And because if they come out with a new one, like, I don't know, it has sparkles in it, I have to buy it. If Sharpie comes out with a new color or a new palette, I have to buy it. Post-it notes. I got a lot of post-it notes in different sizes and shapes and designs, and something about organizational tools. I can't be the only one. Put in the chat that you are a chaos coordinator. Like I am. Okay, recap. Spread the risk and mitigate changes that may occur with Amazon FBA. Consider adding at least, if I could throw down the gauntlet for some of you, especially people who've been doing this a while and maybe you don't have any other sales channels, I'm going to throw down the gauntlet. I'm going to encourage you to add at least one new sales channel. Put a step there, one new sales channel in the next 5 days. It's easy peasy. You got this. You can do this. And then one digital product, if you're really feeling ambitious, create one digital product that maybe it could be a merch shirt, for example. Okay, I see some people in the chat. Great idea. Good stuff. Okay. Marketing opportunities. We all know about pay-per-click, right? There are all sorts of other marketing opportunities outside of Amazon's pay-per-click. that sometimes get me more bang for my buck and less noise. So some marketing options. I do really well with Facebook ads. So one of the cool things about focusing on passionate niche markets, let me give you an example. I'm in the dachshund market. You know, the wiener dogs. I don't actually have dachshunds. I don't have dogs either. I love all animals. But I discovered in some of my niche market research about 5, 6 years ago that there are people who are absolutely obsessed with dachshunds. And basically what they say is it's literally like potato chips. You can't just have one. So I have dachshund products, and I have products for dachshunds, and I have products for dachshund mamas and dachshund daddies and baby dachshunds, right? Both for the pet and the adult. So I know that I can go on social media and I can target people who have dachshunds or love dachshunds with a product that I'm selling on any platform. And then I can create a niche email list, which I have, of people who love dachshunds. And then I can email them saying, hey, we've got a new product up on Amazon. Here's the link. And then I can build a niche community, which could be a Facebook group. There are Facebook groups with tens of thousands of people in there who love dachshunds. There's a YouTube channel around a dachshund called Caruso. It's officially called Caruso the Celebrity Dachshund, and he's probably up to 2 million followers now on YouTube. I'm not making this up. Use influencers, pay per click, Amazon. Think outside of Amazon. You've got Google Ads. There are also ad networks. There's one called Taboola, Taboola, for example, that I've used. So if you're ever scrolling through a news site and you're reading some articles, and then you see these down at the bottom, you see like these little square ads show up, and they look like they're articles, but then you'll see right below it, it says advertisement or ad, right? Or sponsored ad. That there are so many ad networks out there that you can place like a little graphic of your product with a call to action in front of people who are reading news sites or reading niche sites on like dogs, if you're doing a dachshund product, for example. So look into ad networks as well. Amazon pay per click is not the only way to skin a dog. I mean, not the only way to market your products uh, via paid advertising. So recap. Don't rely just on Amazon's organic traffic. Learn how to send your own traffic to your Amazon products. And by the way, Amazon loves when you send traffic, it's offsite traffic, it's called. They love it when you send traffic onto Amazon because they're hoping that they can convert some of that traffic to prime users. And that the people who come to their website that you sent, maybe they won't buy your product, but they might buy others. Let me look in the chat here and see a couple people asking questions. We are going to do a bit of a Q&A at the end, but let me just take a look here. High Performance Planner, Pretty Journal. Oh, yeah. So you have a results journal. Kathleen has a results journal, health related. I need that one. Message me after this. High Performance Planner, Pretty Journal. Yeah, I have so many different journals. I'm such an easy sale. Somebody has a journal or a planner and it's cute and it's pretty and it has like, I don't know, a unicorn on it. How do you find these people's email addresses? Well, it takes work. It definitely takes work to find these people, but it's not that hard once you know how to do it. So don't just rely on Amazon's organic traffic. Learn how to send your own. Creating a plan. This is key. Don't wait until Halloween to sit down and create a plan. Do it now. We've got time. In fact, I would encourage you to do it in the next 5 days. Sit down again with my attraction to office supplies. I have a giant whiteboard in my office, two-sided, and then I buy like art books that like where you sketch and draw on them, so they're bigger size, really thick paper in them. And then I grab a big tub of markers of some kind. Could be smelly markers, glitter markers, Sharpies, whatever I feel at that moment. And I open up that drawing pad and I just start brainstorming on the drawing pad. I like bright colors on a big piece of paper. That's just me. Not saying you have to. Some people like small lined paper. They like having that structure. Whatever works for you is what you need to just sit down. I don't mean need to. I recommend you sit down on at a table with no distractions, maybe your favorite beverage lined up, maybe some meditation music on or some upbeat music, whatever works for you. You do you. And then Start drawing out your plan for fourth quarter and reverse engineer it. When is the last day you can send stuff into Amazon? When is the last day that you can merchant fulfill something that people will get for Christmas? And by the way, don't reverse engineer from December 23rd, reverse engineer whatever it is, December 20th, reverse engineer from January 30th, 31st, because this is key. This is remember I told you I was going to tell you the other mistake I made my first year selling on Amazon? I had no product in the warehouse left. It's a good thing to have, right? After Q4, it was gone. My inventory was gone. And then January rolled around and it was crickets. Well, December 24th, it was crickets because I had nothing to sell. That was my second biggest mistake selling on Amazon my first year, is that I had nothing lined up to sell people in January. So it's not that I didn't make sales because people weren't buying. It's because I didn't have product. So I highly recommend. I really love the planner market. In fact, I have a new product this year I bought all the stock of from the supplier. It was closeout, got sitting on my desk, and I'm going to show you a way you can get this as well in a little bit. It is an undated planner, so that and it's kind of a brainstorming journal slash planner. So it's got weekly, monthly, but that has a lot of like brainstorming questions for goal setting and creating mission statements and major goals and minor goals and evening and morning routines and bucket lists. It's really cool. I just read out of it for you. I'll show you that product in a minute. So I'm tripling down on planners. Another mistake I made is one year I did send calendars that I bought at the Dollar Tree that were licensed images. This is before anybody was, getting shut down for that. But they were dated. Well, what happened? People stopped buying them after they bought their calendar for 2017. So I had a lot of pullbacks from calendars that I could not sell anywhere else because they were dated. So my one piece of advice on selling a calendar is make it undated if you're going to do a larger quantity. And if you're going to do a dated one, then make sure you've got your marketing set up to push it. Or you're doing print on demand, because you don't want to get stuck with calendars that have the year 2024 on it and then have them sitting in a warehouse somewhere. Create a plan. Plan big, execute small. I was not the first person to say this. I'm sorry that I can't tell you who said it, but somebody important, I'm sure. Plan big, execute small. I do have a saying that I use in my business and my life, and if any of my coaching students are in here, you try to beat me to the punch in the chat. What is my favorite saying? Go ahead and put it in the chat. So plan big, execute small. I'll tell you in a minute. See if any of my coaching students are in there who can tell me my absolute favorite thing to say. Plan big, execute small. Write it down. Distribute it to a team after you've written things down and get their feedback and ask them, how can we do this better? Or what do you think we should do? Or is there something in here that maybe could go south that I haven't considered? Don't just direct your team, use them for feedback. They each are smart individuals who can have their own spin on things, who might bring a completely different perspective that will help you. Sign deadlines. This is key. Boy, we've all got those massive to-do lists, right? Until I start assigning deadlines to things, that to-do list just seems to get longer. Break it down if you've got a project that's huge, that's just it seems insurmountable. We all have those. We all have them. Break it down and do one little thing. And I'm wondering if this chat is one of my coaching students telling me, because that's a great segue. Yes, Susie, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is a little extra. That is the number 2 thing I like to say. The number 1 thing is, you ready? Write this down, everybody. Little by little, a little becomes a lot. Little by little, I'm going to write that in the chat because this is really key. When I'm overwhelmed and stressed and chaotic and feeling like, man, I'm stuck, little by little, a little becomes a lot. Boom. Here it is in the chat. Copy and paste it, put it on a Post-it note. I have it in multiple places in my house and my business. So when I get overwhelmed, in fact, all right, don't judge me. I made a little jingle out of it for myself. So I sing it to myself when there's like a big project that is mindless. Like it's just like this thing that maybe unloading. Here we go. Here's an example. I got 3 pallets of stuff in a Wednesday a week ago, so a week and a half ago, and these things were falling apart. I mean, there was products just strewn everywhere. It came off the back of that truck, and they were the leaning tower of Pisa, and, it was kinda like Jenga puzzles, like, how many can I get off of here before the whole thing falls down on top of me, right? So, it was 96 degrees, which is cool in Arizona. I had no help, couldn't get anybody to show up. I didn't expect the pallets to show up that way, so I hadn't planned. So I'm like, "All right, well, I gotta get them in the warehouse, which means I need to break down," and a lot of the boxes were broken. So I had to unpack all of them, and I had to there were blankets, thank goodness, not a lot of things were broken. But all the boxes were busted up. So I'd unpack all of them, inventory them, and package and create new boxes and pack them up and repalletize and bring them in the warehouse. It took me about 6 hours from beginning to end, taking a couple of breaks and drinking water and, getting in the air condition, sitting in the van, whatever. But what got me through it was that little mantra, little by little, little becomes a lot, little by little, a little becomes whatever. I know that's silly. It sounds silly, right? But it works for me because that mantra just kept me going, just little bit, one box. Let me get that one box off the top. So it works. I'm here to tell you, whatever your mantra is, figure out what that is. It's going to get you through the times when things just seem overwhelming. And then implement every day. Even a day that might have off. I have no days off between now and December 24th because I switched to local selling the last week of leading up to December to Christmas Day. I've done it for so many years that my local customers now expect it. So right up to December 24th at about 7 p.m. I'm serving my local customers. So between now and then, I have no days off. And I'm okay with that. I've chosen this. So even if you're taking days off or time off, if or you're burnout, you need to have a day off, which is important. I get it, or time off. Even in that morning that I need to have a day off, if I just send one email or answer one phone call, just one thing I've implemented for the day, and then I can take the day off. I'm not saying you should not take any days off between now and December 24th. I didn't say I didn't take any time off. I don't take any full days off, but I do give myself, and we'll talk about self care in just a second here. I do make time to take care of myself. So use time blocking. Love time blocking, especially as an ADHD person. Between 10 a.m. and 12, this is what I'm doing on Tuesdays. This is, I'm doing goal setting or serving coaching clients, etc. So block time for a specific type of task. If it's okay, every Wednesday and Saturday, we prep and ship. Then, from 10 to 2, we prep and ship. Then stick with those time blocks and create a consistent schedule around them. And then use technology and automation wherever possible. Recap. Again, I didn't say this. I wish I did. I'm not smart enough to come up with these cool sayings. Those who fail to plan to fail. Who said that? Somebody famous, right? So if you don't do your planning now, the rest of Q4 is just going to be so stressful for you and not as profitable as it potentially could be. Put your plan in place now and then execute. And know that you're going to have a little wiggle room in that plan because stuff's going to come up, and that's okay. Which brings us to creating efficiencies. Prepare meals in advance. I have this big stand-up freezer, and I'll just prepare meals in advance and stick them in there. And I try to, give myself a bunch of variety. I don't just cook the same thing. I cook a bunch of different ones and put them in there. And then I'll buy like a giant salmon, like a big honking one, and then I'll cut it. I'll slice it up. Get healthy food box subscriptions. I was looking into those again this morning. I like Wild Alaska's because I like seafood. And then there's one called Imperfect Foods, which I really like because it's kind of repurposes food that never makes it to the grocery store because it's too ugly, quote unquote. I think there's another one that's like ugly foods, and I love those because I get these boxes of just fruit and vegetables that things I never would try. I never would have thought to try or even heard of that particular vegetable. So I love getting the subscription boxes of food that just come in and show up. And then apply technology tools to manage your tasks. There are so many project management tools out there. Asana, Airtable are just a couple of them. There's one called Monday. I signed up for and never used. That's typical for me. I'm a pad and paper kind of girl. I don't know why, but I like to have my things written down. It's odd. And I also use Google Sheets a lot. Google Sheets and Google Docs to organize things, and Google Sheets works great for me. I'm used to it maybe. So why try to learn another technology if this works for me? And then be okay if everything doesn't get done. No stress. You're always going to have that to-do list. I can't imagine like there's always something I'm adding to my to-do list. I don't know what a blank to-do list looks like, but I'm okay as long as I get the important things done every day. As long as I implement every day, something every day, then I'm okay if everything doesn't get done. Self-care. This is important during Q4 because our stress level is going to go up. Take a breath. Just take a breath. Mindset. You are the chief problem solver in your business. CPS, chief problem solver. When stuff comes up, as it always as it always will, how you react to it is 90% of the quote unquote battle or solution, I like to say. So you're going to see in a lot of Facebook groups people complaining about fill in the blank. Well, this didn't do, and this didn't, and that's their reality. And I can separate the message from the messenger. And if there's something in there that's going on with Amazon, like, oh my gosh, they're shopping, their checkout stopped working. I think that happened one Q4, didn't it? For you old people in here who've been selling on old Amazon sellers in here, not old like chronologically, but people who've been selling on Amazon. Remember one year their checkout went down? I think it was during Black Friday or Cyber Monday or something. Remember? That's a reality. That's something I need to know about, right? But if it's I ran out of tape and I'm in such a bad mood because I ran out of tape and oh my gosh, don't listen to the noise. Whatever comes up in your business, you are allowed, give yourself permission to grouse for 30 seconds to 2 minutes, depending on the level of anxiety it caused you. For instance, those pallets that showed up cost me 6 hours of time that shouldn't have. I let myself go back in the warehouse and give out a huge scream. Nobody was in there. Who's going to hear me, right? And then what did I do? I put a plan together. All right, let me get pad of paper, a Sharpie, the invoice in front of me so I can mark things off, a box cutter, gloves, and an ice pack to put around my head. Laid them all out. Oh yeah, and tunes. Hooked up Pandora to my little speaker in the warehouse, brought it back in the warehouse. Okay, I got everything I need now. Boom, let's do this. And that took me all of 2 minutes to cycle through that. 2 minutes. Because why would I waste all that time, even any more time than that, grousing about something or even going on social media? I am able to tie a lesson to that too. You know, what happens when that happens? And then I created a little SOP with my Sharpie on the side of a box. When shipping comes in like this, what are the 5, 6 things that need to happen in what order? Contact the shipper, contact the seller, right? Do an inventory, check for damaged goods, report, whatever. So just turn it into an SOP when something yucky happens in your business so that if it happens again, you can cycle through that SOP faster. Plan recharge time. Get into nature helps me. I like green. I live in Phoenix, Arizona, where not a lot of things are green unless I drive a little bit north. So, I'll take an afternoon and just go drive north and find some green and pretty and just walk around and recharge and breathe. And then that works for me. Ask for help. I'm notoriously bad at this, or I forget to ask for help. And then I don't have it when I need it. So be better than me. Do as I say, not as I do. Have a stress management routine. This is really huge. This is huge for me. So I carry a lot of stress, and becoming more aware of when I should. Let me rephrase that. I'm becoming more aware of when I'm carrying stress, and I have a routine now. I have a routine. I have an SOP basically. Take some vitamin B drops under my tongue, make a specific tea that's got magnesium in it, sit and breathe with a certain CD on. So I have a routine. So make sure you have a stress management routine because when you're highly stressed or have anxiety, your brain can't think straight enough. Oh, what do I need to do? If you have a little routine that you've practiced and you have down and it's rote, then it'll kick in. And then sometimes you just got to roll with it and laugh when stuff happens. You can laugh with it. And give yourself and others grace because stuff is going to happen around you that maybe people aren't going to do what you want them to do or the way you want them to do it. and recognize that they're probably stressed too a little bit, and just give yourself some grace and give others grace. Give benefit of the doubt. Don't just assume negative intent. And boy, wouldn't the world be a little bit of a nicer place if we all gave each other a little bit of a benefit of the doubt when stuff goes down wrong, right? Okay, let me scooch in here. So, what would you accomplish? What could you accomplish in the next 30 days if you had an experienced guide as your personal mentor? You guys know where I'm going with this, right? The next 30 days, which is October, what could you accomplish if you had somebody who's been there and done that and made mistakes and fixed them and learned things that maybe you haven't tried yet? What could you accomplish based on some of the things we covered in this presentation? What do you think you can accomplish? What kind of things do you want to implement in your Amazon business in the next 30 days? That would be helpful to have a guide like myself. So, welcome Q4 Mentor. Just launched. First time I've ever done this during fourth quarter. I do have a high-end private coaching program that is $8,000 a year. And I normally don't open up mentoring during fourth quarter. And actually not normally. I don't open up mentoring during fourth quarter. So what I decided to do is to carve out 2 days a week for 5 weeks to offer a mentor program for those who have who think that they can get further along by having not their hand held, but having the guidance and support and encouragement of someone who has been selling online, selling on Amazon for 7 years, selling online since 1996. A little bit about myself. This program is going to be, first of all, I'm a seven-figure seller, and that's just on Amazon. That's not counting the other platforms. You will get access to me for 5 weeks during the hottest selling season of the year, and not just twice a week coaching sessions, but in a private Facebook group where you can ask me questions as they come up in your business for 5 full weeks. It's going to be an intimate Facebook group. I'm limiting how many people can join me as a Q4 mentor in the Q4 mentor program, but you'll have it's about attitude. It's about supporting one another. This is a place to safely ask questions, no judgment, no beating each other up, just supporting each other and lifting each other up. So I've never done this 5-week mentoring program before. Never done it. You're going to have direct access to me in a private Facebook group. No judgment. Ask anything about selling during Q4 on Amazon and off Amazon, because we did talk a little bit about selling on other platforms. So anything that I'm doing that you want to learn about, you can join this group. It's the only way to get access to me for the next 5 weeks. This is the only way. I'm going to have my head down. I'm going to be grinding away, getting my products into Amazon and filling my orders from other platforms. So this is the only way anybody will get access to me as part of this Q4 mentor program. Here's what you're going to learn. Topics will include, but they're not limited to. This is going to be led a lot by what you individually need. So sourcing RA and OA, been there, done that. Wholesale, how to find products and secure accounts. I do that pretty well. Seasonal bundle research and creation. How to add more sales channels to your business. Building your capital up. I've got some tips and tricks that I use every fourth quarter to build my capital so I can turn more products faster. How to manage your time and resources, creating efficiencies, planning for 2024 in the now, like don't wait until 2024, planning for 2024, and many other topics. They were not limited just to these topics. These are some of probably the more popular ones, but as things come up in your Amazon and your ecom business, we will address those as well. So in addition to the 10 small group coaching sessions, that's 10 group coaching sessions twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you're going to have replays so that if you miss one or your schedule doesn't allow to be on one of them, there will be replays. You'll also have the private Facebook group and direct access to me in those groups. You also get my overcoming overwhelm training. I did this at the beginning of this year, talking about basically it's self-explanatory, right? How do we overcome overwhelm when we screech to a halt because we got too much going on and we just can't seem to move forward? Learn how to organize chaos and stay on target. I'm pretty good at putting structure to chaos. Multi-channel profits course. This is a fairly new training that I created earlier this year. It discovers how to cross post your products on other platforms to reduce the risk of having all your eggs in the Amazon basket. I sell that for $297 normally. I'm going to give you a calendar of all the important dates for Q4. and Amazon. We're gonna have a Q4 checklist, and you can mark off the little things that we tend to forget about. This is why I love Excel or Google Sheets, because I create a lot of checklists in Google Sheets. So this keeps you something visible that you can print out, put right in front of you, and check things off as you get them done during the planning period in the next 30 days. And a Q4 resource list. Links to tools and items you need to sustain you through Q4, including the exact poly bags I buy, the exact tape I buy, the exact tools that I use to source and to do research, keyword research. And then I'm going to throw in my holiday niche keywords guide, 951 holiday related niche keywords. And in this guide, you're going to discover some really fun niches. I did when I was putting that guide together. One of the things I discovered was Advent calendar came up a lot. And then I started digging down into Advent calendar to the point where I now source and sell an Easter Advent calendar. I'm not kidding. So there are niche Advent calendars. Anybody who's gone into Big Lots can see all the different niches that you can buy, right? So I'm going to give you that niche keywords guide that will help you identify some fun niche, passionate niches that you can potentially source for. Total value, 10 group. Now remember, I charge I have a mastermind program that's called Achieve Mastermind that is annually $8,000. You get a piece of this carved out just for Q4, just for this brand new group when you enroll in the next couple of days, because we kick off next Monday. You get 10 group coaching sessions, and I don't limit the group. It's not like a 30-minute group coaching session. We are on that call until everybody's answers gets answered. There is no, oh, time's up. Okay. Value of that is $19.95. Bonuses that I listed, the value of those are $5.95. The total value is $25.90 for 5 weeks of private group coaching with me, plus all the bonuses. Enroll today for $495. I'm limiting it at 20 people. $495, 20 spots available. You get access to me for 5 weeks, the beginning of Q4, to help you set up your Q4 for success. Go ahead and put all your questions in the chat now. I'd love to be able to talk about any of the things that that we discussed on this webinar, that I presented on this webinar. Love to answer your questions on them. Pop them in the chat. Hey, Cynthia, you're not late. You're good. I'll send out the replay to you. Don't worry about it. It will be a limited time recording. And by the way, we're going to start the mentor program on October 2nd. And instead of doing 4 weeks, which ends end of October, I tossed on another week. So you have 5 weeks of mentoring with me through November 3rd, which is Friday, November 3rd. The sessions will be held on Tuesdays and Fridays. So it'll be Tuesday evenings and Friday afternoon. And I did it that way so that everybody, I could accommodate everybody's different schedules. And again, all of the coaching sessions will be recorded and put into our back end, which is called Podia. We use that for all of our training. It'll be put in there so you can watch it over and over again. And then you can ask questions. You'll have not just access to me during the coaching sessions, but in the Facebook group throughout the week, you can ask questions throughout the week based on what happened during our coaching sessions. So Heath asks, when adding additional markets, how much extra time is needed to maintain those markets? Good question. Fulfill orders, etc. Or are you using Amazon to do your fulfillment on those markets? So Heath, I am not using, let me kind of reverse engineer some of the questions here. I'm not using Amazon to fulfill those other markets because I have a warehouse. Not to say that you shouldn't use Amazon to fulfill the products, because the answer to all of your questions is everybody's situation is different. I have chosen not to use Amazon to fulfill the other markets, but you can use a prep center, 3PL, a third-party logistics company, or staff. And then the other questions you asked were, when adding additional markets, how much extra time is needed to maintain those markets, fulfill orders, etc. So there's no way for me to answer that for you, because for me, it might be different for you. Depends how many SKUs you have. If you have a private label brand that has 6 SKUs, that's very different from someone who is managing multiple sales channels over 1,000 SKUs. So the time it would take is dependent on how many SKUs you have, and also how much, if you have staff that can handle it for you. I hope that answers your questions. It's kind of a lawyer's answer. What do they say? It depends, right? And then they go on to kind of answer. So I'll always be straight with you. I'm not sure how much time it would take you. I know how much time it takes me. But I don't just roll out to every market there is. I'm very specific about what markets I want to roll out to. So Etsy was my second market. I really like Etsy. Like I really like Etsy. I can charge more on Etsy than any other platform and the fees are less. I'm not a huge fan of eBay. That's probably because I'm just not spending enough time and energy on really digging down into eBay. They keep changing their interface and it's annoying to me. But I use there are a couple of automation tools that I can use that will just take everything off of my Shopify store and copy and paste it to a new platform. I do like Facebook Marketplace. That's been very done very well for me. Like in Google Shopping. So I'm probably going to triple down on Google Shopping because I think that I can maximize that even more. You can also sell on Alibaba. I haven't tried it yet, but you can sell on Alibaba if you have wholesale products that you can sell. Any other questions? Okay, I would love for y'all to join me. Well, not y'all, 20 people. 20 people. In Q4 Mentor, you go to q4mentor.com and it'll reiterate everything you get. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you what else you get. I have not entered Walmart Marketplace yet. In the beginning, Heath, when it first started, I applied like 3 times and they kept turning me down. For the life of me, I don't know why. And I haven't cycled back around to it. But you're right. That's not probably that is a marketplace that I should probably queue up next. I've just been so focused on doing live selling that and rolling that out. When I choose a new marketplace, I go all in. I do a deep dive, and then I come up for air and do the next marketplace. I want to show you one other. I forgot to tell you the one other bonus, which is feeds into my love of planners. I wanted to show this to you guys. Everybody gets a hard copy. I love what I call HLOs. It's called a hard and lumpy object. Hard and lumpy object, HLO. You ready? This is what you get. I told you about the new planner that I just started sourcing. When you join me for the Q4 Mentor program, you get to choose between a black or a blush, black or a blush. And you get inside of each is a planner. Is a planner. And this is what it looks like. This is the brains, this undated, and you also get each planner includes a bunch of stickers, and then acts as it's an undated planner, but acts as a brainstorming journal as well as an undated planner. So some of the fun pages you get are morning and evening routines, your bucket list, and then this is the undated planner for each month, and then each week you get a place for your notes and your appointments, and you just fill in the dates. And then in the back, there's more places to do notes and more guided meditation. So there's reflection pages and all kinds of things that you can use, books read, new things learned. And these, everybody will get one when you enroll in q4mentor.com. And it comes with all these cute stickers. I love stickers. And you just choose whether you want the blush pink one or the black one, this blush pink one. And they come in this really, really pretty box too. You know, when it's a 12-month undated planner. There's the blush pink and there is the black. And I'm going to physically mail you one of these. It's not only a download, I'm going to mail it to you. So I do see some more questions. Let me address those. And yes, whatever was in the email saying that I'm going to give you a checklist and a resource page, I'm putting that up on my blog, and I'll give that to everybody who attended this webinar. So don't worry about it. I'll give it to everybody who attended the webinar. Okay. What is your? I'm going to go down the list here, and then I'll get to the rest of the questions. What is your opinion about Temu to buy products? Do those products have to be private labeled? So I buy quite a few products on Temu for my bundles. Let me see if I can find something here I bought on Temu recently. Oh, they're in the other room, but I buy quite a few bundle items on Temu. I don't see anything off the top of my head, but yes, I do buy from Temu. Have you ventured into the Walmart? Oh, sorry, I answered that, Heath. No, but yes, you're right. I need to. Yes. And Tom said the email for this said attendees get my. I love how you went and found the email and pasted it in here. Gary Left Brain. I like that. Attendees get my Q4 checklist to help you stay focused and make sure you don't forget anything. Yep, I'll mail it out. Also, I'll share my resource list with all products and tools I use for packing supplies software. Nope, you didn't miss it. I will send an email out to everybody who has attended this with a link to my blog, which is Deal Diva Wholesale, and it'll give you the resource list and the checklist. Whether or not you enroll to become a part of the Q4 mentor program. What other questions do you have? Tell me your other questions. Well, you got me right now, so feel free to ask me questions. Any other questions? Okay, I don't see any other questions here, so I just wanted to invite you again. I'm closing this down. Closing this down on, we start on Monday, October. Can you believe it's October? Monday, October 2nd, I believe. Yeah, Monday, October 2nd. So you have till Sunday night, which is about 5, 6 days from now, to grab your spot, but there's only 20 spots available. I want to make sure it's a quasi-personalized experience and that it's not just 500 people in there, that nobody's feeling like they're being served personally. Because I believe that mentorship it should have a personal element to it. I think there are a lot of a lot of programs you can get into where there's thousands and thousands of people signed up, and you just feel like you're lost in the noise. So the whole idea was to create a program, and I literally I looked at my calendar. I was like, how can I make this happen to help people in our industry at a great price for them, and also so that I'm not taking time away from I'm not hurting my e-commerce business by doing it. So I found a way to balance this. This is my offer for you, q4mentor.com. Enroll today, 497, 20 spots available, 5 weeks of coaching, two coaching calls a week, with no time limit on them, and answering questions in a private group in a safe environment about anything you want selling on Amazon during Q4 and other platforms. So thank you so much. I appreciate you guys coming in here today. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful week, and we'll talk soon.